Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, in a very Kalima-esque Ibiza.
Kalima-esque?
I know you like that word. You like that word,
what does
don't
that
you?
mean?
Kind of a made-up word.
It means.
It's a made-up word, Rich, that's what it is.
And it's me, Richie Pryor, here in Mallorca. How are you, Mark?
Oh, very well, Rich. You know what a Kalima is, Rich, don't you?
I have no clue.
It's basically a haze that comes in from the Sahara, because the last 2 days, I don't know what it's like over there, Rich, but over the last 2 days over here, it's been really hazy, but very hot and humid. I think the rains are on their way, Rich, which makes sense, doesn't it?
They are dirty rain we had today, to be honest with you, which, filled the car full of filth, which is marvellous, but it's by me, Mark. What the weekend, how hot was that? 42 degrees, I think, was recorded somewhere around the Balearics. So it might have been in your island, but I think it was close here as well, to be honest.
Yeah, the hottest was in 41 degrees this past weekend in San Juan, which is in the north of Ibiza. So
right.
It's really hot, isn't it, Rich? And in San Antonio, we've got the San Bartolomeo, or the San Bartolome, as it's called, festival week this week coming up. And it's kind of folklore that the rains always happen during this week, because it's kind of our week of celebration in San Antonio, and the rains always come. So I reckon by, I don't know, maybe Monday or Tuesday we'll have some rain, Rich. There you go. That's my prediction.
Well, we're predicting rain for tomorrow here, Mark. Tomorrow,
really?
Wednesday. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There's supposed to be a rain tomorrow, which means the temperature will dip. The temperature's about to dip of probably about 10 or 12 degrees since last weekend, which is good news, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, it is, mate.
I think I can keep up with what it's been like.
It's ridiculous.
It's been really warm.
I'm just checking our weather. We've got no rain, but it is going to dip to a very balmy 28 degrees on Wednesday, mate. So that's not bad.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Better than 35, 36. Anyway, Rich, because we're British, we could talk about weather all day. However, this is Talking Balearic. So what do you have for me this week?
Well, I've got, I don't know if you've seen these stories on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, people saying how quiet Magaluf is and other resorts are, and it's getting into the papers. And I just want to talk about that because it's, some of it might be true, but a lot of it isn't, if the truth be known.
Well, I mean, as I always say, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story on social media, Rich.
Exactly. Devil is in the detail, as always. And also talk about Real Mallorca at the weekend, because that needs talking about with that refereeing display that we saw. And the crazy kickoff time for this weekend for Mallorca. They're playing again this weekend, so I want to talk about that.
Okay.
And what you got?
I've got a little story about taxis and illegal parties, which I just want to go into because I think it's still a hangover from the COVID era. Mm-hmm. And I've got the main thing I want to talk about, Rich, is tipping and service charge and restaurants in general, because we've been talking about a lot in my social circles over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And someone messaged me today, say the news has seeped into the UK psyche as well. So I've just been looking at some receipts. So I just want to go into that a little bit more detail. So we might spend a little bit of time on that as well. And also I've got another little story that ties into that. No, first of all, Rich, I want to talk about, because this is a thing that I've written about and blogged about quite a lot. What you read on social media and what is the reality, because we live in it. We live in the here and now, don't we? Me and you are lucky enough to live in the beautiful Balearic Islands. So, what is the disparity between what's being reported in the UK and what's the actual word on the street? Just go into a little bit of detail for me, Rich, if you can.
Well, I've seen a couple of newspaper reports, Daily Express, the normal, the red tops, really, the Sun, the Mirror, etc., saying that Mallorca's quiet and, it's due to the fact of all the tourist protests, etc., etc., etc. And to be honest, it's utter rubbish. We're in August, right? Okay. And August, the prices are as high as they possibly can be because the kids are on holiday. And the tour operators, ever since you and I started repping, always had the most expensive prices in August because the kids were on holiday. Back in the day when we were repping, obviously there wasn't this rule that you could only take your kids during the 6 weeks. That didn't exist. Kids could come on holiday.
Leave it, Rich. Leave it, Rich. Leave it.
I'm not going to go there. Don't worry. I'm not going to go there today. But so it's always known that August is a busy month for families. Okay, which means that what we call the youth element of the market does quieten down. It's a well-known fact. July is always busy with the youth, which it was this year, to be honest with you, and September probably will be for the first 2 weeks before the kids go back to uni. So you'll see pictures, and I've seen pictures on TikTok and Instagram of people saying this is 11:30 on the Punta Ballena, look at it. And it's all down to you ruining it for your own selves and all this rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And then if that person actually took the walk onto the next line, which is the front line, the beach side, you'd have seen that the restaurants were packed. There were people queuing, waiting to get into the restaurants. it's a totally false economy, really, to say that it's quiet. It's not quiet here. There are some resorts that are quiet, admittedly, but that's only because of, I think, price more than anything else. But most resorts right now, most hotels are busy, and it's still going to be a good year for Mallorca, whichever way you look at it. I don't know if Ibiza's the same, but it is still going to be a good year. There's some places that aren't going to have a good time, and that we've learned, obviously, over the last few weeks, some restaurants, bars and cafes might, actually lose their business. The weak get weaker, unfortunately, the stronger get stronger. And I think some people have got to start looking at their business model and decide, is this the right thing going forward into what, particularly, I'll take Magaluf as a great example. Magaluf is heading towards becoming a family resort, couple resort as well, with all the lovely bars, restaurants and cafes and the beach clubs that are on the beach side. It's the second line where, the famous or infamous Punta Balearic is.
Yeah.
And I know those bars and cafes and nightclubs have spent money. They have. There's no doubt about it. But they need to probably start looking at the model. And is that the right model for what's going to happen to Magaluf over the coming years?
Two things, Rich. First of all, the folly of August, because I'm going to write about it this coming week, actually. I've been meaning to for the last week, but I've been busy. The folly of August is this, that everyone expects it to be chock-a-block busy. It is, but in a different way. And as you've absolutely nailed there, it's families, it's Dutch, it's Italians. We've got Spanish everywhere, large groups of kids. They're going to the beach all day. They're preparing picnics. It's just a different dynamic of people. It really is. We can't change that. August has always been that way. And everyone always thinks that August is going to be absolutely manic. And it is in many ways. Don't forget the traffic's there. There's no taxis around. The good restaurants, you can't get a reservation. But in general, it's quite quiet. And I use that in speech marks, because define quiet in August. You can't really define quiet in August, but realistically, it is quiet. But as you absolutely nail again there, Rich, I'll give you two there. I'm not just giving you one, I'll give you two there, which is very unlike me, isn't it? Right. No, don't worry. I'll take it back shortly. Right. I think there is no drinking culture anymore. I notice it with the young British. There's no, as I said, when we were lads and all that nonsense, it was a massive drinking culture. Everyone used to go inside the bars, go from bar to bar and a bar crawl. That just doesn't exist anymore. People are using terraces now all the time. The terraces are busy, but there's no one inside the bars as well. Mm-hmm. And like the Punta Balearic is exactly like the West End of San Antonio. It's busy for 3 or 4 hours, early evening, maybe up to about 1, 2 o'clock, and then it dissipates because everyone goes on to clubs or goes on to other places. So it's the folly of August, Rich. It really is. And I mean, I'm a big social media user, but I can spot the nonsense straight away. Look at Punta Balearic. Yeah, it's probably taken at 9:30 on a Thursday evening or something. So I wouldn't read too much into it. But I think what you absolutely said there, Rich, is the model has changed. And those bar owners are still doing the same thing for 25 and 30 years and expecting their bars to be full are just coming up short. And they have to change. The people aren't going to change. The people are doing what the people do. It's the bar owners and the restaurant owners that have to change and look for different ways of making money.
And we need to remember, Mark, that these islands don't exist just on the UK market. The UK market quite possibly could be down. I think we did say in July the UK market was down about 5%. But there are lots of other source markets. There's, as you just mentioned, the Dutch, there's the Scandinavians, the Italians, the French. There's the Spanish, of course, the Germans. There are loads of other source markets that can come to the islands. And the more and more that Magaluf goes away from the drinking culture, the more and more diverse you will see that resort changing.
But that's not a bad thing, Rich, is it? I think it's a really good thing, because I think when I was in Magaluf last time and Palma Nova, there's still pockets you can go to have a little bit of a dance and a bit of a drink, but it's not taking over like it used to. Remember back in the day where it was too much. It was in your face all the time. But now, if you want to go to the front, the front of Magaluf, I think you said it last week, didn't you? It's really nice,
mobbed, Mark. It's mobbed. It is really, really mobbed.
I'm going to come over the next few weeks, mate. I think we're going to do a little vlog about it, because you've been telling me so much. I want to see it with my own eyes. I was last there in April, I think it was, where it wasn't really the season. But I want to come and have a look at it, because I think this is the way. They're painting it as negative in the social media world, but I actually think it's a positive, Rich.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
It's just people like clicks, don't they? That's what they do. So, and also, the Sun, the Daily Mail in August, they've got nothing else to do, have they? So
everybody's on holiday.
They just come looking as well. Coming into restaurants, Richard, I want to move on to. I think I sent you a story, didn't I, this week about the tipping culture and the service charge, because all joking aside, I've had lots of friends, lots of family over in the last 6 weeks, and I've been going to a lot of places, and I was just going through my receipts. Here you go, mate. Listen, there you go. Let me hold up to the camera so you can see it. Look, there you go. There's some of my receipts.
Look at you, Hey, he's not bragging or anything.
I'm not bragging, but I
blagging or blagging?
Well, a bit of both. Some of them were freebies and some of them were cost me. It's the tipping culture now. It goes hand in hand, Rich, with, and I think you're yet to see it, but you will get it over there because I can see the direction of travel of Mallorca. I think you might be a touch behind us. I don't mean that in a bad way, Rich, but you are going up market, aren't you, with your 4 and 5 star over there?
True.
And the restaurants will follow. These big fancy restaurants will follow. What's happened with Ibiza? Obviously, they have now built these really fancy, smart restaurants, and the prices are quite eye-watering. Now, the bill comes to you. Now, did you see that bill I sent over to you? Now, this is really cheeky. So I was in a place, and I'm not going to name any name. We're not that type of show. We're not here to name and shame yet. However, I was at a famous place that is pretty new, and they gave me the bill, and it was only when I looked at the actual bill that they'd put in 10% service charge, but they cut it down as tips. But unless you look for it, the bill was there included. Yeah, they'd not separated it. You had to look at it and go, hold on a minute. You're now putting a 10% service charge or tips included in the bill, and then you're just rounding off at the end. So if you don't look at it, you look at the amount and you go, right, that's it, I owe 200 euros, bang. But what you don't realize is that 20 euros of it is tips. Okay.
Well, I was just going to say to you, I mean, that's okay if you know that person that's serving you is going to get that tip. Because there are some restaurants that won't give them.
Well, I'm going to come on to this as well, which is very interesting, because I've had a chat with my man on the inside of the Ibiza hospitality industry today to clarify a few things for me. Also, I went to another new place the other day, and they put on a 10% service charge at the end. Okay, and I was thinking, is this legal? So I spoke to my insider on the Ibiza hospitality industry, and he said, no, it's not. It's all discretionary. You've got to remember this. It's discretionary. They can't add a service charge on. They can suggest a tip, and that's what you see on some of the bills. You've got suggested tip 7%, 10%, 15%, 20%, or whatever, but they can't legally include a service charge. And I think because we're going to the surge of the upmarket restaurants, they're looking at ways of maximizing their bills, and they are now putting on 10%. It's getting a little bit like America, but it's not legal. This is and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute we should kick off, because if you're going to an upmarket restaurant and you've had good service, you've got to be prepared to put a 10% tip down. However, I think it's very surreptitious the way they're doing it now, Rich, and I think it needs to be called out online, because it's not right. You can put suggested tips down there, but you can't, as a course of action, include a 10% service charge. You can't do that. It's not right. Also, just to go back on what you said there, Rich, I'll let you come in after my little rant here, is that my friend who runs a very upmarket establishment said you would rather put the 10% on, the suggested tip, because that means when it does go through the till, it comes as tips, it does get divided up between the staff. It's official. Yeah. He said the problem is when you leave cash. He said, when you leave cash, nobody knows where the cash goes. So interesting enough, he'd rather that you put like a 10% on, you put it on your card, it gets split, it goes to the staff. And he said that way, you know that it's going to staff. It's definitely going to staff. But if you leave a 10% tip in cash, you're never sure where it's going. It might go in the pocket of one person who deserves it, or maybe not, So I just think it needs to be called out, Rich. And as I said, we're not talking about 10 euros. We're talking about 200. If you're going for a big meal, you're talking about 150, 200 euro tip in this day and age, Rich. So you've just got to know where you stand and understand the dynamic. And if you're not happy, then by all means, call it out and get them to take it off.
Fantastic. I agree. I just the only thing that sort of worries me, and what you said there, Mark, about the guy saying, if you include the 10% on the credit card bill, and he says, yes, it definitely goes. How do you know it definitely goes?
No, you don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't. But you have to trust the establishment. What he said to me was interesting, because he runs, say, upmarket establishment. He goes, what happens is 80% of that money goes towards the serving staff. Yeah. Right. And 20% go towards the others, like the chef and the whatever. Yeah. You'll get a little bit less if you're in the kitchen, but you're not serving. Everyone gets a little bit of a tip, but not necessarily at the same rate. So I just thought it was interesting, Rich.
Oh yeah, I agree. And you're right, Mark. Though it is going that way here as well. You know, it's restaurant bills are definitely going up, and a lot of people have sort of mentioned it to me, and I have noticed it as well. So it's something to keep an eye on. You're right.
Absolutely.
Do you want to carry on, or do you want me to
Yeah,
start ranting about football?
Yeah, no, I'm going to listen to rant. Yeah, no, exactly. Listen, we'll leave your football rant to the end, Rich, because then I can just switch off and have a drink for 10 minutes and come back, can't I? Another interesting story. We're talking about service and social media. It actually goes well in what we said today. I sent you the story over. What happened in Ibiza? Big thing in social media over the last couple of weeks was at a well-known restaurant in Ibiza. A lady went in and the waitress asked if she wanted to hang her coat at the end of the table. Yeah. She said no, but the waitress convinced her. So she brought out this hook. Have you ever seen these hooks that go on the end of the table? Yeah. They're like coat hangers, but they lean down and the weight of the coat means that it rests at the end of the table. Anyway, the lady went to pay the bill and she'd been charged €12 for the coat hanger at the end of the table. And she 12 euros, yeah. And she said, hold on a minute, I didn't want it, but the lady said it was a good idea. So I did it. And then I've charged €12. What it is, Rich, they gift you the coat hanger. Yeah. So it's not, it's basically you're buying the coat hanger at the end of the table and you take it away with you. Cut long story short, the lady went on Twitter X, denounced this place. It had over 500,000 views, this particular tweet. It went viral and the restaurant has responded saying, we take offense, we solved it. Yes, she was charged, but we apologize. We took it off when we realized the error. And now what they've said is they're going to sue her for €36,000 because what they've said is what she's put online has damaged their reputation. They've seen a real downturn in reservations. They've seen a downturn in people turning up at the restaurant, and they think this one tweet has really affected their business. So they're going after her. They're asking for a full and comprehensive apology, take down the offensive or the offensive to them tweet and post, and they want €36,000 in reclamation. So, this just shows you the power of the internet, Rich, doesn't it, as well? So, and also there's three sides to every story, isn't there? There's her side, their side, and probably
the truth.
Probably the truth in between somewhere. So again, we're going to service levels, aren't we, Rich? And I think the moral of the story is that in a tough year, which I think we've identified that it's probably not the best year because we've had the best years directly after COVID. There's a lot of businesses out there struggling, and they're looking at ways to make margins. And you've got to be careful. Check the bill. Don't be afraid to speak to somebody in a nice way. You can't be calling people out. And I think put a bill on social media at your peril because, I don't like that. You should know what you get yourself into. All these people that go to a beach restaurant say, I've just paid €9 for a piece of bread and a drink. Yeah, well, it is peak season in one of the best restaurants, one of the biggest and best restaurants in the world. What did you expect? It's a quid a pint in Benidorm if you go there, mate. So, you've got to have some context to it. But as I said, it's just, I think it's coming towards the end of August. People are panicking and they're just trying to maximize.
Yeah, and in reality, Mark, we all know, and listen, I've never I've worked in a restaurant. I haven't actually ran a restaurant or anything else, but surely it comes down to service for one and quality of food for two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those would be my two things that I would look at, and then all the recommendations you get from people recommending the service that they received and the food that they received, and it's just a sort of a merry-go-round. I would hope that's how it should work, in my opinion.
It's all relative. It's all relative, Rich. Listen, I think like yourself, I don't mind paying a load of money for a meal if it's great food and great service and you're having a fantastic night. But what you don't like doing is paying a lot of money for average food and average service. That's the thing. So I say it's all relative as well. So Ibiza top end restaurants, you've been warned.
Especially when Martin walks in the door. You'll recognise him, 6'5". Eh?
Well, 6'7", but let's not go into that.
All right, yeah. Well, what's 2 inches? Anyway, let's move on quickly, Mark.
I'm not going to say anything to that, Rich.
No.
Listen, I've just had a rant, mate. Can I now leave the floor over to you? Hand the floor over to patch the baton, as we would say.
Oh, dear.
Pass the baton to Richie Pryor to have his 5-minute. I'm going to time you. I'm going to give you 5-minute rant about football.
I've already blogged about this already, to be perfectly honest. It was Barcelona. Just if anybody doesn't know, Mallorca played Barcelona at the weekend. The controversy really happened after Mallorca were 2-0 down, to be perfectly honest. And I don't think Mallorca were ever going to come back into the game anyway, because Barcelona were head and shoulders much better than Mallorca. That is the truth. But the second goal came from a shot from, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Lamal, actually, that hit our centre-half full on in the face. The centre-half fell on the floor, grabbing it with his head, where you would think the referee would stop the game. The ref had his whistle in his mouth. He didn't blow his whistle, so everybody stopped because they expected him to blow the whistle. And then Ferran Torres, who used to play at Man City, put the ball into the top corner. So everybody thought, oh, well, he's just going to disallow the goal and, get the guy treatment. So he got the guy treatment. Then he picked the ball up and he started walking to the centre circle.
Yeah, no, it was bizarre. It was bizarre, wasn't it, mate?
It really was. Going? It was bizarre. He's given the goal. And everybody's going, that's mad. What are you doing? So Morlanes, who's a centre midfield player, obviously kicked off and he got a yellow card. The coach kicked off, he got a yellow card. Within 5 minutes, Morlanes fouled Lamal. He was doing one of his mazy runs. Lamal was, unbelievable on the night, Mike. He was really, really good. You can't knock that. And it was an innocuous foul. It didn't need it didn't need another yellow card. But
Rich, it was a yellow.
Oh, Mark, look, come on.
Rich, it was a yellow. It was a yellow. Listen.
No, listen.
It was a yellow. But he hacked at him. Right, it was a yellow.
Regardless of who it is, because it's Barcelona, and we all know that everybody loves Barcelona. Yeah, in my opinion, okay, it's a game of football. But football has, and the referees have, for me, should have a right to try and keep 11 players on all the time because it's about entertainment. People have paid a lot of money to go and watch a game of football, and what they don't want to see is 10 against 11, or at the however to Mallorca it was 9 against 11. It's just not football anymore. All he needed to do was go up to him and say, "Listen, you're on a yellow. I've noted that. The next one you do, you're off, mate." Yeah, it didn't need that. It didn't need another yellow straight away. It was 39 minutes into the game.
No, I know, Rich, but by the law, okay, it wasn't. But by the laws of the game,
yeah, but by the law, blah blah blah.
No, Rich,
that's not how it works these days.
No, I kind of get it. I know what you're saying. What I did think, though, Rich, I thought Mariki. I mean, that was ridiculous. I've got to tell you, that was a ridiculous red. I mean, I don't know where that came from.
Thank you. So
that was
the Mariki one,
ridiculous, mate.
5 minutes later, he ran to a through ball. He put his foot high. I get it. I don't think he touched the keeper that badly. The keeper's rolling around like he's been, kicked left, right, and centre. None of the Barcelona players really complained. The ref gave a yellow card, and everybody thought, right, let's get on with the game. VAR come in and said, "Oh no, you should go and we'll look at that on the screen." And as soon as VAR come in, not one referee's got the cojones in any league to say, "No, I'm going to stick my original decision." So off he goes. So we're down to 9. I mean, playing Barcelona with 11's hard enough, but 9. Yeah, no, I don't know if you've seen the Rafinha foul on our right back, Murray. If you haven't, go and watch it again, right? He gets a yellow card for it. My complaint about it is, why didn't VAR come in and say, no, you're wrong. That is a red all over. He could have broke his leg or he could have done his knee because it was a really, really bad challenge. And all the both benches kicked off about it and everything else. And it just seemed that the ref was just so bad, Mark.
The ref was awful. I mean, Rich, I know where you're coming from about your first yellow, but unfortunately, that by the laws of the game, I understand what you're saying. It was, but the Mariki one was disgraceful because the guy put his leg up, and I didn't even think it was a yellow. Okay, give him a yellow, naughty, but to go to VAR and then red. I mean, as you said, it destroyed the game, didn't it? Really, but I mean,
the game. To be honest with you, as I said,
it destroyed the game.
The game was done anyway. We weren't coming back from 2-0 down. Listen, it might have been interesting to see if we could have made a game of it at 2-0. Do you know what I mean? But it didn't happen. So that's it. And you know what I mean? We ended up losing 3-0 after, that Lamal scored a great goal right at the end. But we held out with 9 men. 9 men to hold out for that amount of time was pretty good.
It's a privilege to watch Lamal, though, isn't it? I mean, what a player he is. I mean, he's 17. He's 17 years of age, mate. He's 8. I think he's just 18 now, actually. But it's ridiculous, isn't he? He's a baller. The comparisons to Messi, I think it's well deserved. I mean, let's not forget they say it to Ansu Fati as well, who's now, I think he's at Monaco, isn't he? I mean, he kind of dropped off the grid, but Lamal really is an incredible player. He really is fantastic.
So Mark, that game kicked off at 7:30, and it was boiling on Saturday. Do you know what I mean? It really was hot. We've got another home game this weekend against Celta. Kick-off 5:00 in the afternoon. I mean, come on, what are you doing?
In August in Mallorca.
And you shouldn't just be thinking about the players here, of course. You should be thinking about the crowd as well. Do you know what I mean? Because you're sitting in the sunlight. It's not going to be any good for you, no matter which way you look at it. Do you know what I mean? So apparently they've gone to La Liga and asked if they can change the game, because I think an Alaves game was changed this week because of the hot weather. Whether or not La Liga do anything about it, I don't know, but let's see.
I bet they won't, Rich, because I presume it's for TV, isn't it? They put it at 5 o'clock for TV. There's no way on earth they're going to change that, Rich.
No,
UD Ibiza had that when they were in the second, and we played at all different times because, just to explain a bit of background, I think it's 2 weeks before, isn't it, in Spain? This is the problem.
It's mad.
The TV schedule is lastminute.com, so you don't find out to 2 weeks before. So if you're trying to plan something, you can't do it, can you? You know,
no, exactly.
And they reserve the right to change the kickoff times and the days to anything as well. So when UD Ibiza in the second division, well, I think we had a 2 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. I mean, it was ridiculous, Rich. It really was, in August. And we got there and they gave everyone a cap. They gave it on the way and they gave everyone a cap because the sun was coming straight at you. And there was no shade as well. So, I mean, it's all about money, isn't it? Yeah. There's no way on earth. La Liga, you got the 5 o'clock kickoff and they got Atletico Madrid versus Elche 7:30 and Levante Barcelona at 9:30. Good luck with that change, Rich, because it isn't going to happen.
Okay, I agree. What you got, Mark?
Last one, mate. Just another one. We all talk about taxes and the problems. A lawyer, it's in the paper today. A lawyer has set up. It's an interesting concept, Richie. I'm half impressed and half amazed that he nearly got away with it. He set up a website, basically a car sharing website. You know, these things that you share. People paying basically 10 euros a head, up to 6 people in a people carrier, and he's trying to say that it's a car sharing website. They've pulled him on it. You know what the taxi lobby's like, Rich? It's a very strong lobby. I mean, for those of you who probably not aware with Spain, there's 2 massive lobbies in Spain. One's the hotel lobby. I don't mean the hotel reception, by the way. I mean the hotel group of hotels, and secondly, the taxi drivers. They've pulled him on it. He's a Madrid-based lawyer. And they're now trying to fine him 300,000 euros because apparently he's one who set up the illegal parties in the COVID era as well. He's still doing so. So,
oh, really?
You know, it's bizarre. I mean, how these people expect to get away with these things, I don't know. I suppose because he's got a legal background, he thought there was a loophole. But I think it's got a bit of legs, this case, mate. So we'll check on it in the next few weeks. But buyer beware, mate. I think the taxis continue to be a problem, especially peak season. But I tell you now, in 3 weeks' time, there'll be more taxis than you'll ever need.
No, exactly. Did I see this story right? I can't remember if it was Dwayne that put this story up, that a guy ordered a pizza and he said, I want it home delivery. He said, can I jump on the back of the bike when you home deliver it to get home with it as well, please? I'm sure I saw that on Dwayne's post.
I didn't, but it's genius. It's genius, isn't it? I'm all over that. I'm going to do that next time. It's great, isn't it?
That's good. Yeah, really good, really good. Yeah.
All right, Rich.
Don't get me on the taxi thing.
No, exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah. Considering I didn't think we had a lot of news, mate, I think this might be our longest podcast for a while.
Fun.
And that's just your football run. Yeah. Now, if you just noticed, I've got my new Real Sociedad shirt on as well, Rich.
So, I wonder where that shirt was from. Well, why Sociedad? What's that shirt?
I had some friends staying with me from San Sebastian last week, and they brought this over to me as well. So there you go. Look,
there's a play. You see your boy in his pants as well. That's nice.
See everything on this podcast, don't you?
Exactly. San Sebastian is a place I'd love to go to. Actually,
it's amazing. It's an amazing place. I've got to tell you, it is wonderful. It's a bit like, I've got to tell you, it's a bit like a Cornish village or a Devon village. It's this beautiful bay, the beach, and then just on the first and second line, you've just got rows and rows of tapas, bars, and restaurants. It's superb, Rich. I can really recommend it.
Might be a winter excursion there, I think.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
All right, listen, take care, Mark. Speak to you next week.
Always a pleasure, Richie.
Take care.
Have a good week, mate.
Bye, mate.
Make me dance.